Hello dear tea friends from around the world, and welcome to a new class with me, Stéphane Erler, the founder of the Tea Masters blog and the tea-masters.com tea boutique. And I'm very glad to have you again for today's class. We'll examine two topics. One, we'll take a step back and look at tea from really a very broad perspective and trying to make tea part of your life, because tea is not just what you see me doing now, a chashi. It can actually take lots of different forms, and well, last week I've tried to show that I can also use my chashi in a video conference, but I've also posted pictures for how I'm drinking tea when I'm at hot springs, how I'm drinking tea outdoors. So tea really can be part of your life, and I think if you can make tea part of your life, it will make your life also much better. And so I will try to list all the different ways in which we can make tea part of our life, and then you'll maybe better understand why it's important to know more about tea, to learn about tea, that it will help us to adapt our brewing in different circumstances, and this will probably make life much more interesting, happy, and meaningful this way. Okay, this will be the first part, and in the second part I will talk a bit about my newest promotions. Actually, I always give away some teas with every order that my customers place on teamasters.com, and for this month only, I've changed the teas that I'm giving away, and we'll also talk about that, and I will be brewing one of these teas today during this class. So let's start with today's topic: how to make tea part of your life. In Chinese, Tea Parker told me recently, the expression would be 生活化, because he does not really limit his tea brewing to just the chashi experience. Chashi was one of his most important books that came already 10 years ago out and was published. And so basically it's creating this little perfect harmonious world where you have all the accessories you need to make tea, and where you really try to think everything through and you start with the tea as a central element that will give the feeling, the theme to the chashi. Like today, I'm choosing High Mountain Oolong from Alishan, and it's a Jinshuan cultivar. So it's the tea I'm giving away for orders over $120 US. And so because it's a very lightly oxidized oolong rolled, I've chosen an Yixing teapot, which is more round, and Celadon teacups to make the tea brew look even more clean, more clear, and more fresh, because we are now in early March, and we are hoping for spring to come any minute soon. It's a bit of the changing weather here in Taiwan. We are sometimes it can be cold, sometimes it's warm. Maybe it's we are on 2 different feet, and the weather is a little bit hesitating to say goodbye to winter and to really start with spring. So yeah, because I'm thirsty already, so I'm going to brew this tea right now. This is my benefit. I'm making. This is also a good example of making tea part of life. I'm making tea part of my class. I don't want uh, to give a class with a dry mouth, and instead of just drinking water, which would be much easier, of course, this takes a little bit more effort, but this effort for me is really rewarded because I'm then enjoying very good tea. So this is really the spirit of learning tea with me, and what also the benefit I got from learning tea with Tea Parker is that we learn tea not just to perform tea in charshi or in a gongfu cha style. It's we learn tea so that we can brew tea at almost any moment, at any time, in any circumstances. So we learn to be very and to adapt to our environment, to adapt to the circumstances, and really the idea of knowing the tea is the more you know the tea you are brewing, the more you know its limits, how far you can push it, and then the more the easier it will be for you to adapt to different environments. And therefore, this is also another reason, for instance, why I don't give indications, why I would say, oh, use how many grams, how big your teapot should be, and for how long you have to brew your tea, because depending on the circumstances, on your equipment, this will change, and you have to learn to adapt. So it's much more. It makes much more sense to learn to be adaptive, to learn about tea and the range of possibilities, than just give you a standard. Oh, this is a standard, but don't deviate. If I only give you a standard, then you will be afraid to deviate. So it's we find it much more interesting to learn by with experience and by trying, making sometimes mistakes. But anyway, when you are brewing oolongs, you can brew them several times, and each time should be a time when you pay attention to what you do, and when you are experimenting how far you can take your tea. And also, we don't give you too strict in advice on how to do certain things, because we like to that everybody brings his own creativity, his own personal touch to the tea. Okay, in the background we are listening to Odette Tsuer's CD, Here Be Dragons. Very nice. And it's another example of how tea is part of your life, because Odette is a musician who loves to drink this kind of high mountain oolong, and he will drink tea just before he plays music, and this will give him inspiration to perform and to reach into his soul, to express his feelings. So I like this CD a lot, because it's really a connection between him, the music, and the tea that he has just drunk. Very nice, clear, light green color. Okay, I'm almost done. The class can almost continue, but actually you could already see how I'm brewing tea. I think this is also a benefit for you to be able to see how I'm doing it. Here is the cup. Cheers. Delicious, delicious. Only sweetness. Hopla. And the leaves have opened up very well, but since you don't need to use too many leaves, this is a very light way of brewing it, but lightness is also part of the character of High Mountain Oolong, so it's really a good fit. Okay, so I was saying that the point of learning about tea is not just to be able to learn how to make a chashi. This maybe is like the highest form of tea brewing, when you really have the most time, when you have the most when you put the most into it, and then it really opens a lot of things you can do with a chashi. You can be very creative. You can add like I showed last week in the chashi I prepared for my parents' 50th birthday. It was full of meaning. It was creating a connection with them, and it made our phone call then full of life. And for me, it added several dimensions of smell, taste, and touch that I would not have had if I just had called them on my smartphone. So tea in the chashi sense for me is really a wonderful way to spend time. But this time I'm spending, so it's not completely disconnected from the rest of my life. Like the anniversary chashi for my parents really was connected to something happening to my parents, a celebration. You can also make chashis that are connected to your daily routine. Maybe when you let's start from the morning on. Now you can, if you are a morning person, you can maybe do a chashi in the morning to wake up, to meditate, to slowly get up, and move from the dreams to reality. It can be a time where you will gather some force, some strength for the day ahead. You know there will be a lot of hustle bustle, but and this is maybe the last moment of quiet before the day of work is unleashed on you. So it can be a good moment in your life to prepare for the day. Then there's the other chashi that maybe happens in mid-morning or mid-afternoon. That is a chashi, a tea that is a rest from the day, where you make a pause and you need to connect. You've spent the time during your day at a computer. Now is the time where you can look at some plant. You can connect with nature. Also, you connect with nature through the tea, like a High Mountain Oolong. So the tea also and the chashi offers a way to connect to nature, and your mind travels to these plantations instead of being at your computer or at I don't know, in front of a class as a teacher. So it's a way to rest. There's of course, and then this is a normal chashi since you are you do it in a chashi way. Maybe you are at work and you don't have this environment where you can create a chashi, but then making tea maybe in a more simple way will still achieve what I was just talking about, this connection to nature, and just closing your eyes, you can see nature when you drink the tea. So it can be a way of pausing. And then, so tea is part of your life in helping you. What I'm doing very often, 3 times a week, is sports, swimming, and always before I swim, I'm having a tea moment, a chashi actually, where I'm drinking a tea that will boost energy and for my sports, for my swimming, and also I need to be hydrated, because when you are swimming, you get dehydrated a lot. Most sports will make you sweat, and you need some water. So drinking tea before sports is also a good way to get energy. And then the teas that I'm choosing are often more powerful. So either high mountain oolong if it's very hot, or more pu'er, but sheng pu'er if the weather is cooler, to also give me a boost for heat, and so it's part of the routine. And the tea in my mouth also is also helpful when you start to have a little bit of chlor come in your mouth. Actually, in the beginning, you still have a nice taste of the tea in your mouth when you start to swim. So it's also very nice to swim with still some tea taste in your mouth. Now, I've mentioned Oded already for the music. There's also there are also people who are making other artists with other arts. Let me see. I think and for instance, my friend Elizabeth has sent me this painting of her. There's also Nico-san, a French artist, who did this. I hear somebody drinking or smelling the cup of a gaiwan. So when you are an artist, also tea can be an inspiration. And I'm sure if you make tea part of your routine, the energy that you feel from the tea will be a base for inspiration. And from the works that I've shown you that you are listening to, I feel some really very nice and positive impact of tea on people who are doing arts. So other examples of tea that is part of our life. When we are traveling, what is nice is to travel, and if you're driving a long distance, to have some tea in a thermos that you can drink when you are pausing. This tea will give you energy and will make you feel nice when you are driving. Also, when we used to fly, when I used to go back to France or to the US, for tea classes, I would make tea in the plane, or actually in the airport. After the security checkpoint, I would have my thermos with, and the tea I would choose is an old sheng pu'er. And after the security checkpoint, I always try to find boiling water, so that I can fill my thermos with boiling water, and then when I board the plane, I have a whole thermos full of sheng pu'er waiting for me, and I can start to drink even before the stewardess comes to give me to drink. And I always felt that drinking pu'er and very nice pu'er then on a plane adds a sense of comfort. You are sitting in economy, but you already feel like you were in business class, because the taste of the tea is so great, and the earthiness of the pu'er helps to make you feel grounded. Even though you are miles up in the sky, I always felt that this cup of pu'er makes me more grounded, and I'm much more at ease, forgetting about the fact that I'm traveling at 900 kilometers per hour in a metal box up in the air. So it's always a very nice feeling to drink pu'er on a plane, I felt, even though it's not in the best conditions, just with a thermos. But then, this is the whole point now of today's classes, to give you idea how to use tea not only in a classic set of chashi, but in many different many different ways, in many different circumstances in life. Let me 2 seconds go back to the feed. I've lost it. So if you were asking questions or putting comments, I could not see them. I have not seen them so far. So yes, please, if you have any questions or suggestions, or maybe you have your own ideas you want to share of how you make tea part of your life, this could be interesting for everybody else. I'm going to continue to mention a couple. Another way with a thermos that you can enjoy tea in outside of your home, outside of a chashi, is in a park. When you are outdoors, when you hike, I feel this also adds a lot to the experience, to be able to enjoy tea when you are in nature, when you are surrounded by nature, and then to have a good tea is also makes it also very special, and you connect. Maybe you feel the nature in your surroundings even more intensely. This is especially the case for me when I go to hot springs, and this month was the time when I was able to do it, to go several times to hot springs in Taiwan. This is one of my favorite activities in the winter here in Taiwan. And again, just 2 days ago, I was in Yangmingshan in a hot spring, drinking some high mountain oolong from Shanlinxi, the winter one actually. And the experience was very different from the spring version of Shanlinxi, which was more refreshing. The winter one was sweet and maybe fruitier, but also a bit rougher, even more nature. And it was, I felt it much more intensely. I made it again at home, and in a teapot, and I felt, actually in the thermos, I'm pushing it too hard, but actually I'm loving it when it's so concentrated, so strong, and sometimes, oh, maybe this way is very delicate, very light, but and maybe it's suitable for me now because I don't want something too strong. But oh gosh, it was so powerful, so full of energy when I was drinking it, so concentrated in the mountains. That's also a feeling, an intense feeling you get that that goes very well with this feeling of spring when you are so hot from the hot springs, and really it added a lot to the experience. Now another aspect of making tea part of life is to see tea evolve with time. Well, this year I'm going to hit 50, and sometimes I forget about getting old, but having tea that ages with you is also a way to be reminded of time passing by. Of course, I also have children. I see them also grow, and every year it's a joy to see them evolve and become turning into very nice adults. Of course, they are now teenagers, so they can also sometimes be a bit pain in the butt, but still they're doing a very good job. So I'm really very lucky father. But with tea, actually, it's the same. You try to find some very good teas when you are young, and then you age those that you find maybe the most worthy, those that have the most potential, and then after 10-20 years, now one of the first that I aged was from that I bought actually for the birth of my son, so it will soon be 18 years old, and this tea is evolving very nicely. It's getting more mature, getting heavier, more complexity, and sweeter. So I feel a satisfaction at looking at time evolve. Time and age is not necessarily something bad here. It gives me a good satisfaction about life. That aging is not necessarily about decay, but actually it's also about refinement and making some of the rough become less rough and more polished, and maybe we have a bit less energy in when we grow old, but this energy is more focused on what is essential. So this is also something you can appreciate with tea that you are aging. And something else that that I have not mentioned, and that is also a very big part of life, of course, is eating. And with now for a couple of years with the tea sommelier course I made with and I graduated from with T. Parker, I've been associating tea more and more with my meals. So it's again, I'm not brewing tea perfectly when I'm making when I'm having tea together with a meal, but by knowing tea well, I'm able to understand which teas are suitable to a certain way of brewing, to be sometimes forgotten, and sometimes even if there are two. And actually, when you want to pair tea with a meal, it's actually good to brew your tea stronger, because flavors of food dishes are usually very strong, and so the tea needs to be more concentrated and be stronger in order to be able to compete and not be overwhelmed by the flavors of the food. So this is another way that you can put tea and make it part of your meals, and meals are part of life, and it's another opportunity more to be able to enjoy tea during the day, so not just in a chashi, but then also during a meal, and having tea during a meal, sometimes it can salvage a meal that is not so good. The other day, the dessert was really, it was a brownie, chocolate brownie, really in a restaurant, but I had puer, sheng puer with me, and the brownie itself was not very good, but together with the puer, actually, it created new flavors, and the heavy taste of the chocolate went away, and it felt nice and pure. So tea can also have a very positive effect if it's well paired with the meal. Okay. Okay, I think that's about it in terms of ideas I had how to make tea part of your life. You can, of course, drink tea at different moments during the day. You can sometimes even drink tea just before you sleep. Of course, then you are not going to drink one that is not a tea that is going to make you too excited and not make you sleep, like a gushu puer. This would not be the good time, but a roasted oolong with maybe not too and you don't use too many leaves, so in order not to make too strong a cup. This can also help you maybe calm down and start to feel when you feel sleepy. And tea on the go during your travel or at work or outdoors in a park while you hike. Tea made this way can always be an interesting way of adding not spice but adding tea to life, and make your experience more complete. It's because you are you get the power, the joy of the tea while you're doing something else, and so the idea of learning about tea is to be able to adapt your brewing to all these different circumstances and be creative, and maybe connect tea with your passion. Try to connect tea with your normal day, and try to find how you can better make tea part of your life. Because if you choose well, of course, it's always a question of choosing the right tea. But there are so many teas with so many different characters, and I believe there's always a good tea that will fit the moment, that will fit your mood, and that will add something to your experience, a video phone call, or before sports or during sports or hike, etc., etc. So this concludes this part of the class. I also wanted to announce for this month, and probably it will only be for this month, I've done a serious upgrade of the teas I'm giving away with orders. So for orders above $60, I'm giving away Jinshuan Baozong. First spring version, then the autumn version. So spring version as long as my inventory lasts. There are not so many left, so if you want the spring, hurry up. And after that it will be the autumn version. And then for orders above $120, I'm giving away this tea, the Alishan Jinshuan Oolong from winter 2020. And why Jinshuan? First, I also wanted to say Jinshuan is really a very easy tea to brew. It has very nice fragrances and the taste is very smooth. It's very difficult to overbrew to make it bitter, especially if you are careful not to use too many leaves in your cup. Remember, with rolled oolong, simply one layer at the bottom of your vessel is enough. And so it's a great tea both for beginners and for everyday life. So this is also the connection to today's class. This kind of tea, if you want something fresh, is really a very good fit, because it's very easy to brew, difficult to overbrew, and very light. This is also the type of tea that is most pleasing to most people, because it's simply fresh. It's really one direction, one dimension, and it can be brewed many times. Both sweet and it has this fresh natural high mountain floral, a little bit buttery flavor. So very nice tea. And for orders above $200, I'm giving away my Top Hong Shui Oolong from Shaninxi. This is a roasted oolong, so it has and very well roasted with a nice balance between the freshness and the roast. And this one is also much more suitable for long-term aging. Also very suitable for brewing in an Yixing teapot to make it even smoother, and it's also quite suitable for Chinese cuisine with dishes with soy sauce. This one actually would be better with maybe lighter dishes like chicken or vegetables. Yeah. So that's about it. So my these promotions will end at the end of March, or maybe early April, when the first harvests begin. Right now, actually, you are almost benefiting because the Taiwan dollar has decreased. Actually, the Taiwan dollar has increased in value. The US dollar has decreased in value by almost 10% since last year, and so I'm already doing an effort by not raising my prices, keeping them stable. So and these are nice teas to have with your orders. Okay, too much promotion. I start to feel bored. I'm going to say thank you. I see there was a comment, but I cannot. From Elizabeth, thank you very much. The top hong shui is so great. Great. I'm glad you like it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next week.